Yeah, soldiers, it's your boy the Anime coming to another video, and this is Legacy chapters 44 to 46. I hope you guys enjoy another addition to this Legacy fanfic reading, and again, sorry for the long wait, but now new Legacy video is here, so let's get into this. But first, before we do that, again, shout out to my Patreon. Again, if you want to support me via donating to my Patreon, you can do that pretty easily. It's as low as $1 per month. And then, of course, stay tuned for videos that are coming this week and some other fun stuff in between. And finally, shout out to my social medias at AnimeStage4 for Twitter, anime_stage4 for Instagram, and my Discord is linked in the description. Alright, we can get into this, but before I do, if you have not seen the last Legacy video, which it has been a while since you probably have, again, I'll leave a link to it in the description. Or you could also view the movies, which are pretty long, but at the same time, they have every Legacy part compiled into one video, so it's kind of worth it. And if you haven't seen the series at all, again, a playlist has been made. Alright, let's get into Chapter 44, Beginnings. Here we go. Chapter 44, Beginnings. Otagakur. Somewhere deep in Otagakur, in a cave almost pitch black, stood a single figure, stoically looking towards his enemies. The cave looked more like a fighting arena than anything else. Huge stone walls surrounded the battlegrounds. A single man stood in front of hundreds of enemies. He had but only one purpose: to kill them all. The figure calmly observed his enemies as they tensed for battle. The figure calmly removed his blade from its sheath. Even in the dark cave, the sword glistened. It was a simple chokuto, a straight, one-edged blade with a black hilt. The sword glistened once again as the figure suddenly disappeared and reappeared on the shoulder of one of his enemies. The figure swung his blade effortlessly and watched as the enemy's head fell to the ground. Blood spurted from the wound, but the figure had already vanished. The blade sparkled with electricity as it electrocuted multiple enemies. The figure ventured deep inside in the arena, where the only thing visible were the sparks of the sword. Squelch. Thump! With a single stroke of his blade, enemies fell by the groups. The figure had yet to receive a single drop of blood on his clothes. An enemy managed to hit the figure with a fierce punch. The figure poofed in smoke to reveal that it was a clone. The enemy didn't even have time to understand what happened until he was pierced in the chest by the figure. Magnificent, a dark voice whispered in a corner. The said figure had golden eyes with a black vertical slit. He was a tall man with extremely pale skin, waist-length black hair, and purple markings around his eyes. And they say hard work can outgrow a genius, Orochimaru said, chuckling darkly. Genetics is what determines the skill of a shinobi, Orochimaru said, licking his lips. Orochimaru was watching another figure train. This figure had a white lawn sleeve shirt which was open at the torso. He wore dark blue pants with a blue cloth hanging from halfway up his stomach to his knees. He also wore black arm guards that covered his forearms and stretched up to reach his upper biceps. He also wore a purple rope belt around his waist, tied in a bow, in which he carried his sword. Katon Gokyaku no Jutsu. Great fireball technique, the figure said as he released a massive fireball towards his enemies, melting free of them. The figure ducked beneath a punch and disappeared in a show of speed. He reappeared a few meters away, only to watch his enemy's body being split in half. The figure continued his onslaught upon his enemies. They stood no chance against this figure, who had superior speed, strength, and sight. The figure disappeared, and another group of enemies fell to the ground. He flicked his sword and let the blood fall to the ground. The figure turned backwards to gaze at Orochimaru. His black locks of hair flowed freely in the wind. Blood-red eyes with free black timoes gazed impassively towards Orochimaru, who couldn't help but smirk. 1,000 enemies stood before him, and he didn't even flinch, Orochimaru thought to himself. You have done well, Orochimaru said, walking into the arena and placed his hand on his shoulder. Yan, Sasuke-kun, Orochimaru said, chuckling. I live to serve you, Orochimaru-sama, Sasuke replied as he bowed his head. Both of them turned around as they saw the Edo Tensei form of Kabuto walking towards them. Off you go, Sasuke-kun, Orochimaru said. As you wish, Orochimaru-sama, Sasuke said, bowing deeply and calmly, walking out of the room. Kabuto watched as Sasuke left the arena and walked away before turning to his master. He has matured well, Kabuto said, and Orochimaru could only nod. How long do you think it will take until his physical conditioning is complete? Orochimaru asked Gege to take his new vessel. I'd say about a couple more weeks. He's already invulnerable to all poisons, and he has accepted the curse seal very well, with full control over to level 2. All in all, I would say that he's an A-rank shinobi, borderline S-rank, Kabuto explained, and Orochimaru nodded, agreeing with the analysis. Though, I wonder why you call him Sasuke, Kabuto said, pushing his glasses up. He's supposed to be a clone from the original Sasuke, so I think that he should have the same name, Orochimaru said, shrugging his shoulders. In the meantime, get him a friend, Orochimaru said, chuckling darkly. A friend? Kabuto asked, confused, until Orochimaru nodded. You wish for him to awaken the Mangekyo, Kabuto said, and Orochimaru only chuckled. You realize that he's a half-blood. Unlike Naruto-kun, he's going to go blind should he ever use him too much, Kabuto explained. But Orochimaru shook his head in denial. There are many ways to prevent the loss of sight, Orochimaru said. Many ways. Senju Compound. A new day was just arriving at Konoha. It was summer, and as such, it was already a pretty warm day. Konoha always had nice weather, neither too hot in the summer, nor too cold in the winter. Not that it mattered for our favorite couple who were lying down together in their bed. Naruto was lying on the bed with Hinata on top of his chest. Both of them were awake. They were just enjoying the company and warmth of the other. Hinata shivered as Naruto softly ran his hand over her back. Hinata looked up to see Naruto deep in thought. What are you thinking so hard about? Hinata asked. Naruto looked down from the ceiling and towards Hinata. Nothing, Naruto said, gently kissing her forehead. I'm just going through the things I learned from the Akatsuki, Naruto said, sighing. Why didn't you tell me? I might be able to help, Hinata said, and Naruto nodded. Sure, but first I need to tell you a story, Naruto said, and Hinata raised an eyebrow. It was a time of war. And so Naruto told her everything he knew about the origin of Chakra, Rikudo Sannin, and the Jubi, their battle, the creation of the Tailed Beast, and the sealing of the Gettamazo in the moon for protection. Wow, Hinata said, surprised that Naruto knew so much about how it all began. So the Akatsuki planned on sealing all the Bijus in a statue to bring forth the Jubi? Hinata asked, and Naruto pondered. Well, they didn't exactly say they wanted to bring the Jubi back, but it is the most logical outcome, Naruto explained, looking back to the ceiling. Why don't you summon the statue? Hinata asked, confused. You said that only a Rinnegan user can summon and control the statue, Hinata explained. I can summon the statue, but doing so will reveal that I have the Rinnegan. Something that I don't want them to know as of yet, Naruto replied. Space-time ninjutsu is the pinnacle of chakra manipulation. There is nothing preventing them to summon the Gettamazo back should I ever summon it here, Naruto explained. That is my biggest problem. There is no way to keep the statue away from their hands until we kill Nagato and destroy his Rinnegan. If we destroy his eyes, we win, Naruto said. How about sending the statue to your dimension, Hinata asked, but Naruto shook his head again. The summoning jutsu can cross dimensions. Nagato can summon the Gettamazo no matter where it may be. I have been thinking about a seal to block the summons, but I didn't get very far. Like I said, space-time ninjutsu is the peak of chakra manipulation. Even the smallest of techniques are dangerous, Naruto explained. Have you thought about destroying it permanently? Hinata wondered, but Naruto only chuckled. If the statue could be destroyed, the sage would have done it long ago, Naruto replied, sighing. You seem to have this well thought out, Hinata said, chuckling. Of course, Naruto quickly replied. I may be strong and have the Rinnegan, but I don't want to take my chance against a Jubi, Naruto said, chuckling. Pussy, Kurama replied from the room. Kurama only spent time inside the seal when Naruto was gone on missions, otherwise he would sleep on the floor or walk through the forest of Konoha. Says you, Naruto replied, throwing a pillow at the Biju. I would like to see you against him, Naruto replied. It's only the Ten Tails. How much stronger than Kyuubi could he really be, Hinata wondered. It's not just the Ten Tails.
It's a combination of all the Pichu, all of the power of the Tilpi scattered under one host. It's the real god of this planet. Although he doesn't have a conscience, he's more instinctive.
Kurama started.
He's the primordial entity of this world, the first being, the creator and destroyer of everything. He's the one that breathed life into this planet, and the only thing that can take it away.
Kurama said.
He's the god that created countries and has the power to swallow oceans, split the land, carry mountains, and so much more. You can't even measure his power. If there was someone to refer as Mother Nature, it would be the Jubi.
Kurama explained as both Naruto and Hinata looked at him with blank stares.
According to the legends, should the Jubi ever be revived, it would mean the end of the world.
Kurama finished, and Naruto blinked. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? Naruto asked, groaning. He never thought the Jubi would be such a powerful creature.
You didn't ask,
Kurama replied before yawning and returning to sleep. You see what I have to deal with? Naruto said, turning to Hinata crying anime tears. Hinata could only chuckle. You don't need to worry so much, Hinata started. You are not alone in this. No man should carry this burden alone, Hinata stated. I know, but with me having the Rinnegan, I feel as if it's my duty to protect the planet, Naruto replied. But enough of this dark mood. How about we go for breakfast? Naruto asked, and Hinata nodded. Senju compound, kitchen. Morning, Naruto and Hinata both said as they arrived at the kitchen, greeting everyone. Minato replied, only for Naruto's jaw to drop. You, Naruto started when Minato gave him the traditional Uchiha grunt. Kushina dropped to the ground laughing, and Minato couldn't hold back a chuckle as they watched Naruto stutter. You fell for it, Kushina said, but Naruto had a blank look on his face. It was a prank, Toriyama explained. Oh, so you are back, Naruto said, and Toriyama nodded. Tsunade has placed me as the new envoy towards Kiri, Toriyama explained, and Naruto nodded. It was a really good grunt, though, Hashirama said, scratching his chin. Bitch, please, I can do better than him, Naruto said as he sat down at the table. I will take that bet, Minato says. He and the Senju brothers stared at Naruto in concentration. The ladies couldn't help but sigh and chuckle. They are all old enough, but they can still act like children, Minato said, shaking her head. Isn't that why we like them? Hinata rhetorically asked, and both redheads nodded. Naruto got up from the table and cleared his throat. He arched his lips ever so slightly to allow a small, arrogant smirk to appear. Naruto cocked his head slightly to the side, allowing his veins to slowly show his Sharingan eyes. Naruto released a deep grunt and smirked at their reactions. No! Minato fell on the ground crying anime tears. I worked so hard these last few weeks on that grunt, Minato cried on Kushina's shoulder while she patted his back. There, Kushina whispered in Minato's ear. I've gotta say, that grunt was a good one, Toriyama said, while Hashirama only laughed. How can you do it so well, Minato asked curious. I'm older than you, Minato explained. You didn't have to put up with Sasuke for 6 years at the academy. He was the epitome of Uchiha-ness. I heard multiple grunts every single day, Naruto groaned as he explained. Ding dong. I will get it, Naruto said, walking towards the entrance of the compound as he heard the bell. He opened the door and was surprised to see who was at the door. Hanabi? Naruto said. The person standing in front of him was like a small version of Hinata. She was dressed in the traditional formal kimonos. What are you doing here? Naruto asked, surprised. Naruto-sama, I hereby accept your invitation to visit the Senju compound, Hanabi said, and Naruto blinked as he scratched the back of his head. Yeah, sure, Naruto said as he opened the door and allowed Hanabi to enter the compound. Naruto thought it was strange for Hanabi to come this early in the morning and without a bodyguard, no less. Wait here, Naruto said as he went slightly ahead to warn Hashirama and the others to put on their masks. It wouldn't be good should Hanabi find out the identity of the dragons. And as Frank's secret discovered by an academy student, like that happens all the time. We have a visitor, Naruto said as both he and Hanabi entered the kitchen. Hanabi was surprised to see so many people in there. There are at least 5 masked persons, each mask bearing a different color. There is Samari, Kankuro, Gaara, Fu, and finally, Hinata. Hanabi? Hinata said, surprised to see her younger sister. What are you doing here? Hinata asked, confused. She never in a million years expected her younger sister to come to the Senju compound. Uh, no, Hanabi started as she poked her fingers. She didn't realize there would be so many people in here, and that alone made her a little shy. Naruto-sama said I could visit any time, Hanabi said, looking down and making Hinata smile. You are among family. No need for formalities. Besides, Hiyashi's in here, Naruto said as he sat down at the table next to Hinata. Breakfast? Naruto asked just in time to hear Hanabi's stomach rumble. She turned a shade of red that would put the old Hinata to shame. Don't mind them. They're just grown-up kids, Red, Kushina said as the male snickered. Red approached Hanabi and placed a hand on her shoulder, leaning her to the table and seeing her to Hinata's right. Hanabi hesitantly picked up a piece of bread as Hinata smiled and turned to her, handing her the butter. She ate the breakfast rather quietly and preferred to observe everyone else. Everyone talked and laughed out loud. It was such a different ambience from the Hyuga clan. The Senju clan was the only one besides the Uchihas that had enough statues to compete with the Hyugas. And yet, the Senju weren't all uptight with like her father and family. The Senju had a warm and welcoming ambience. She smiled slightly as she watched Naruto compete with the red-masked woman to see who could finish the meal faster. Everyone was sitting in random places. In the Hyuga clan, Hiyashi, the clan head, always sat at the edge of the table with his daughter, the clan heiress, to his right. It was a way to signify his power and status inside the clan. But unlike Hiyashi, Naruto sat in the middle of the table. He didn't even seem to care for manners while eating. Hanabi giggled as she watched Hinata wipe Naruto's mouth as he was completely stuffed. One thing you should know about the Senju, Hinata started gathering Hanabi's attention. When it comes to food, especially ramen, they can put the Akamichi to shame, Hinata said, giggling, as she watched Naruto glare at Red. Is it always like this? Hanabi asked in disbelief. She was surprised as to how the strongest clan in the world could act so casual. The compound was so full of life unlike hers that gave a cold and lonely vibe, even if the Byakugan could see through walls. Pretty much, Hinata replied and taking a sip. Though, it's difficult for all of us to gather together for breakfast. Each one of us has their duties and schedules that rarely coincide, Hinata explained, and watched as Hanabi picked up a napkin and cleaned her mouth very slowly. Hanabi then proceeded to straighten herself and adopt her neutral face. No need to be so formal, Hanabi-chan, Hinata said and watched as Hanabi's back slightly slumped backwards. How are you so strong? Hanabi muttered beneath her breath, but loud enough for Hinata to hear. Tosama always says that I'm weak and that I'll never be anything like you, Hanabi said sadly, breaking Naruto from his eating contest. Why would Hiyashi compare you to Hinata-chan of all people? Naruto asked confused, and watched as Hanabi became slightly uncomfortable in her seat with all the attention. She didn't want to come off as weak or needy. Tosama says that Hyuga blood runs strong in her. He says that I will never become as strong as her, and that I can only chase her shadow, Hanabi said sadly, making Hinata place her arm around her protectively. He's doing the same thing he did to me. And now he's undermining her because she can't reach his expectations once again, Hinata thought sadly. He always keeps tabs on the bingo book to track your progress, Nami replied. He says that you are probably stronger than Hokage, that you are the first S-rank shinobi of the Hyuga clan, Hinata replied, and Hinata was surprised that her father was keeping tabs on her like that. Don't worry, Hanabi-chan, Hinata said, comforting her little sister. Me and Naruto couldn't have a plan. You just have to wait a little longer, Hinata said, and Hanabi looked up confused. What plan? Hanabi asked, confused about what she was referring to. That is a secret, Hinata said, playfully poking her nose. If you want, I can help you train, Hinata said, and Hanabi looked dumbfounded. Why would you do that? Hanabi asked, confused. I've done nothing for you, and in the end, you would just be pleasing my father, Hanabi replied, frowning. Because you are my little sister, and regardless of what father says, you are strong in your own right, Hinata firmly replied. Really? Hanabi asked hopefully, with her eyes tearing up. Of course, Hinata replied, hugging her little sister for the first time. Hanabi cried for the first time in her life, releasing all the sadness, anger, and loneliness she felt by living her whole life with an unsupportive family and a harsh and stern father. She had to leave her house to find her real home. Poor girl, Tobirama said, dropping his mask as he watched Hanabi fall asleep on Hinata's shoulders. It looks like the Hyugas are taking Uchiha's place. Either you live up to their standards or you become an outcast, Hashirama replied, sighing. Even back in the days in which he was Hokage, it was always difficult dealing with the Hyugas. Only the main branch is like that, and even then there are some exceptions like Hanabi. But all of that will change soon enough, Naruto said in a firm tone. You should be careful about what you're planning, Naruto, Minato warned. The branch house has always resented their lives as slaves. Should the main house ever falter, they might take their chance and that would lead to a civil war inside the clan, Minato advised. Not with what me and Hinata-chan have planned, Naruto replied. Once you become aware of what is happening, it will be too late. Our plan will be swift and effective. There will be no time for a civil war, Naruto replied, as he watched Hinata carry Hanabi away to their bedroom. The poor girl was exhausted. A few minutes later, Hinata returned with Hana. That prick is going to get it for not raising any of you properly, Hana said, pissed off that her husband would treat her children like this. Don't worry, Kasan. That will change soon enough, Hinata assured. In the meantime, why don't you get to know Hanabi-chan? She has never met you, Hinata said, and Hana was surprised but happy since she could bond with her younger daughter, the one she never got to see. Later that day. Ding dong! Ugh, again, Naruto groaned to himself, propelling himself from his bed. He didn't have much to do today other than train or meditate. Everyone else was busy. The dragons were busy in Anbu, Gar and his brothers had missions with Anko, Fu went to the Aburame compound, and Hinata was bonding for little sister and mother. Naruto opened the door and immediately frowned at who stood at the gate. He had long, black hair and white eyes. He wore a very traditional, loose-fitting robe with a long-sleeved brown haori. Hyuga Hiyashi was standing in front of Naruto with an impassive gaze, as if Naruto should be honored to be in his presence. Next to Hiyashi stood a single-branch bodyguard. That particular bodyguard was none other than Hyuga Neji. Long time no see, Neji, Naruto said, and Neji simply nodded. What can I do for you, Hiyashi? Naruto asked, and Hiyashi scoffed at his blatant disrespect for his social status. And even more that Naruto greeted his bodyguard first instead of him. I've come to fetch my daughter, Hiyashi replied, placing both hands in the opposing arm sleeves. I know that she came to the Senju compound early in the morning, Hiyashi replied in his monotone voice. What makes you say that? Naruto asked, curious, making Hiyashi snort. She is only an academy student. Do you really think someone of her skill level could evade our all-seeing eyes? Hiyashi rhetorically asked, almost poofing his chest with pride. A branch guard saw her and immediately informed me of what had occurred. I kept my distance and followed her here, Hiyashi explained. I see, Naruto simply replied. It just so happens that she is busy training with Hinata-chan. Why don't I drop her off at the Hyuga compound when she's done? Naruto offered, and almost took a step back when he saw a small smile creep onto Hiyashi's face. You planned for this to happen, didn't you? Naruto asked, narrowing his eyes. Not entirely, Hiyashi simply replied. I knew that you invited Hanabi to visit her sister, and I knew very well that she would accept this offer. That is why I refused when she asked me, to further incentivize her into coming here, and into the welcoming arms of her older sister, Hiyashi explained, and Naruto shook his head. You are going to lose her too if you keep treating her like that, Naruto explained, and Hiyashi scoffed. I'm not stupid, Senju-sama, Hiyashi replied, almost smirking. I know my daughter far better than you think I do. And I know that Hinata wouldn't hesitate to help her little sister should the need ever rise, Hiyashi replied, and Naruto just stared at him. I'm a realistic person. I know just how strong my daughter has become, and I know that she grew into it without my supervision or guiding hands, Hiyashi explained, and Naruto wondered where this was going. Who better than her to mold Hanabi into a strong shinobi? Hiyashi asked, slightly smirking. Naruto simply smiled as two golden chains sprouted from the ground and snared Neji. What are you doing? Neji yelled as he struggled to get free from the chains. Hiyashi was about to question just that when Naruto blurred out of his sight. Hiyashi didn't even understand what happened until he was pinned to the wall with Naruto pressing his arm to his neck. You bastard! Naruto growled, increasing his pressure and making it difficult for Hiyashi to breathe. You toy with people's feelings just to get what you want. You turn Hanabi into a shy girl just so she could find refuge in her sister's arms. All of that just so she could become stronger? Naruto asked, glaring at Hiyashi, blood-red eyes glowing, and stared straight into Hiyashi's white ones. Danzo-sama was right. Power is the only thing that matters in our world. Everything else is just a fairy tale. Do you really think that Konoha became the strongest of the 5 nations by playing by the rules or saying that the pen is mightier than the sword? Hiyashi asked. You are nothing but a naive kid, Hiyashi replied, making Naruto increase his grip. I will do whatever it takes to keep our lineage strong and unyielding like it has in the past, Hiyashi replied, struggling against Naruto's grip. There are boundaries, and family should be one of those. You already lost your first daughter, and if you keep this up, you'll lose Hanabi as well, Naruto said, seething. And even after everything you did, Hinata is still going to forgive you, Naruto replied, calming down. Because that is the kind of person she is. I should kill you right now, Naruto replied as his Sharingan started spinning. That is enough, Naruto-kun, Hinata said as she arrived in a Shunshin with Hanabi in tow. Naruto calmed down and released Hiyashi as he fell to the ground, coughing and nursing his throat. Hinata approached her father and quickly applied a healing juice to heal the damage she took. Thank you, Hinata-chan, Hiyashi replied as he stood up smiling and making Naruto growl at him. Father, Hinata said and walked very slowly to him. Hiyashi almost took a step back when he saw her smiling. Hinata approached Hiyashi and whispered into his ear, I'm going to keep an eye on you. If I find that you've continued this treatment of her, I will kill you myself. Hinata whispered and backed off, locking eyes with her father. Understood, Hinata asked, and Hiyashi nodded, going back to his stoic self. Come, Hanabi-chan, Hiyashi said, motioning his daughter to take his side. Hanabi hesitated for a moment before remembering what she and Hinata had agreed upon. Reluctantly, Hanabi walked forward until she was by her father's side. You are always welcome at the Hyuga clan, Hiyashi said towards Hinata, who remained neutral. Come, Neji, Hiyashi said as the three of them walked off. What were you thinking, Hinata asked towards Naruto. Why did you need to embarrass him? In front of Neji, a branch member of all Hyugas, Hinata asked. Just trying to make him see the light, but I know now that it's useless, Naruto replied, walking forward and placing an arm around Hinata. And don't worry about Hanabi. He will never do anything to her, Naruto replied. What makes you so sure, Hinata wondered. Regardless of what he wants, he needs an heir to the clan, and Hanabi is the only viable choice. He would never give it to a branch member, Naruto reasoned. Everything he did was to ensure that he got a strong heir to lead the clan. I think we should move up our timetable on dealing with them, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded. It was time to begin their plan, and the preparations would take a few days. Tobi's hideout, Mountain's graveyard. A swirling sound could be heard in a cave deep beneath the earth. Tobi had just arrived from his rather colorful reunion with Senju Naruto, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Naruto had just threatened his entire organization with death, but the problem was that the brat could back up his threats. Naruto had just killed 2 members of his group. The Kyuubi brat intrigues me to no end, Tobi said to himself as he wondered how the Ghetto Mazo could react to Naruto's chakra. It's true that Naruto released enough chakra to match a Biju, but even then, something was off. The air around Tobi swirled again and Zetsu was dropped to the floor. Tobi narrowed his eyes at the plant-like man and wondered what he would do with him. What do you intend to do? The white Zetsu asked, breaking Tobi from his thoughts. If I gave an order that would conflict with Naruto's orders. Whose orders would you follow? Tobi wondered. My allegiance is to my maker, so Madara-sama's blood will always be my master, the white Zetsu replied, making Tobi curse in his breath. And your clones? Tobi asked. My clones are but blank soldiers. They can be programmed to obey only you if that is what you wish, Zetsu replied, making Tobi smile behind his mask. Excellent, Tobi replied. What will you do now? Zetsu asked. Naruto revealed that I'm not Uchiha Madara to the whole group at once. That will make Nagato an unstable pawn on my side. I'll have to try carefully dealing with him as of now, Tobi replied, bringing his hand to his chin. If it comes to that, I will personally kill him and take his Rinnegan, Toei said, sighing. Though he still has his uses, Toei said, chuckling. We will let things unfold for now. Let's wait and see what Naruto's next move is, Toei said as he walked off into the hideout. In the meantime, I'm going to give Naruto a little present, Toei says, smirking behind his mask. I'm going to show him that I am no prey, Toei said, looking at the shinobi kneeling in front of him. I have a mission for you, Toei said, making a shinobi raise her head and display her glowing blood-red eyes. Now, Chan. And that is the end of Chapter 44, Beginnings, and I hope you all enjoyed that chapter. It's a pretty good chapter in my opinion, and, you know, I think a lot of people would actually enjoy that chapter a lot, honestly, because it has a lot of build-up, honestly. In particular, the build-up with Naruto and Hinata's plan coming to fruition, which will be a thing in the coming chapters, so get ready for that. Anyways, let's move on to Chapter 45, The Choices We Make, Part 1. Here we go. Chapter 45, The Choices We Make, Part 1. Previously, I have a mission for you, Toei said, making the shinobi raise her head and display her glowing blood-red eyes. Now, Chan. Now. What's the mission, Fugaku-sama? Now asked, raising her head to lock eyes with her leader. Blood-red eyes with black tomoe shine behind her black bangs of hair that threatened to block her eyes. This mission is to be completed at all costs, Fugaku said behind his orange mask, and now only nodded. Naruto decided to threaten all via Akatsuki, with death, and me in particular, since I was responsible for the death of his father and mother, Fugaku explained, and now simply heard what he had to say. I want to show Naruto that there are no lengths where I would go. There is nothing I wouldn't do to complete the Tsuki no Me Kikaku. I have the moon plan, Fugaku said, with his lone Sharingan glowing. You wish for me to assassinate Hyuga Hinata, now wondered? If Fugaku truly wanted to harm Naruto, she would be the most effective target in all of Konoha. No, Fugaku replied, making Now raise her eyebrows. I want you to kill the king of Konoha, Fugaku said, smiling darkly. The king? Now asked, confused, not knowing what he meant. The academy, Fugaku said with his Sharingan glowing. I want you to kill every single student in there, Fugaku said, and Nao's eyes widened. What? Nao yelled in surprise. Is there a problem? Fugaku asked, narrowing his eyes. You want me to kill some innocent kids who aren't even shinobi? Nao said, looking at the floor, not willing to lock eyes with her leader. I don't want them just dead. I want them bloody. Naruto will know that it was a mistake to irk me, Fugaku said, looking intently at Nao. You will follow my orders, correct? Fugaku asked in a firm tone and narrowed his eyes when Nao hesitated. Yes, Nao replied in a defeated tone. I will do as you wish, Fugaku-sama, Nao said. Excellent, Fugaku said in a happier tone. Don't disappoint me again, Fugaku said and swirled away. Nao sighed and got up and started walking away. Konoha's graveyard, middle of the night. If no one else is going to say it, then I am, Naruto said, crossing his arms. This is disgusting, even by my standards, Naruto said, pointing at the gates that led to the graveyard. What are you complaining about, Hinata huffed. I'm the one that's going to cut her open, Hinata replied, and Naruto's face contorted in horror. Bunch of hussies, Tobirama replied as he stood there with his arms crossed, watching the younglings. You aren't doing much either, Hashirama replied, making Tobirama's eye twitch. You are the Doton Earth user. It's your job, Tobirama replied, making Hashirama groan. So is Naruto, Hashirama replied, pointing towards Naruto. Oi, leave me out of this. You're the one with the Mokuton bloodline, Naruto replied. Will you shut up and get on with it, Tsunade roared, making everyone flinch at a sudden sound spike. Weren't we doing this at night to keep a low profile, Mito rhetorically asked towards the fuming Tsunade. If you keep yelling, you're going to wake up half of Konoha, Mito reasoned. How can you deal with those three, Tsunade asked, pointing towards Tobirama, Hashirama, and Naruto. They're like kids on a sugar rush, Tsunade said, sighing. You get used to it eventually, but why are you complaining? You are a Senju as well, Mito replied. At least Minato wasn't so loud since he was an Uchiha. The Uchiha were always a quiet bunch. In fact, the Uchiha and Senju were the opposite in almost everything, including personalities. Are we going to do this or wait until the Anbu find us doing their night patrol? Minato asked, breaking the fight going on. Fine, let's get on with this, Hashirama said and turned to Tsunade. Whose grave are we profaning again? Hashirama asked. Now Uchiha, 13 years old. She was the daughter of Mika Uchiha and Sora Uchiha, and had an older sister by the name of Nana Uchiha. Tsunade replied, opening and reading her file. She graduated at age 7 along with Itachi Uchiha, and both of them were enrolled on the same team. They both became Chunin at the age of 10. Then they split up. Itachi joined Anbu and now continued her job, becoming a Jonin just before getting killed, Tsunade read from the file. It says here that she was very talented in fire ninjutsu, even among other Uchihas. She was the only one that came close to even rivaling the Uchiha Itachi before he did the cleanup, Tsunade explained as she closed her file and everyone walked towards the gravesite. A good Uchiha is a dead one, Tobirama answered, much to the shock of everyone. Tobirama! Hashirama yelled and Tobirama huffed. You know I'm right, Tobirama replied. What about Minato? Hashirama asked, pointing towards the blonde. He's alright, Tobirama replied, and everyone's sweat dropped. Let's just dig her up and be done with this, Tsunade stated. Here lies Uchiha now, a proud Uchiha. May she rest in peace. Hashirama kneeled, placing both hands on the ground. The ground shook a little bit as the earth slowly began to break apart. The ground split in two as the coffin slowly made its way towards the surface. Once the coffin was outside, Hashirama closed the hole. Who wants to do the honors? Tsunade asked, and Hashirama shrugged. Hashirama's arm turned into wood as he used it to crack open the coffin. The top of the coffin fell to the ground and everyone coughed as a small cloud of dust was set free. What did I say? Naruto rhetorically asked, pointing towards the decomposed cadaver in front of them. Disgusting, Naruto replied. The cadaver in front of them at least still had skin, but it was all dried up and brownish looking. She was just a little girl, Hinata said, overlooking the cadaver of a 13-year-old. Hinata kneeled down and ran a small diagnostic jutsu. Prognosis? Tsunade asked as Hinata worked her magic on the cadaver. Her eyes are missing, Hinata said, shocked, when she found empty eye sockets. Members of the Uchiha and Hyuga clans have their eyes removed and destroyed at death to prevent exactly what we are doing right now, Tsunade explained, and Hinata nodded, going back to her work. Cause of death, blade through the heart, Hinata replied. It doesn't seem to be fake. All the normal indicators are here. This is a normal human body, Hinata replied, and Naruto took a kunai and cut off a piece of her skin. A blade for the heart, Hinata wondered out loud, gathering the attention of everyone. Once the blade pierces it, the organ structure is immediately compromised, and the blood flow is severed. The lack of oxygenated blood shuts down the human brain in just a few seconds, Hinata said, looking over the body of the young girl. Death is almost instantaneous, Hinata said sadly. What are you doing? Hinata wondered until she saw Naruto sit on the ground and go through hand seals. Kuchios, Edo Tensei, Impure World Resurrection, Naruto said, slamming his hands together as the ground glowed purple around the Shadow Clone. A few seconds later, and nothing passed. You're losing your touch, Minato snickered, only for Naruto to bring his hand to his chin and fought. He performed the technique correctly. Either Uchiha now is still alive, or soul is sealed somewhere else other than the pure world, Tobirama inferred as he brought his hand to his chin. Did she have any medical training? Naruto asked towards Tsunade, who looked over the file. Only the basics. She was strictly a taijutsu, ninjutsu, and genjutsu user, Tsunade said, and watched as Naruto looked around. What are you thinking, Naruto? Tsunade asked in a serious voice. Did the coroner or the one who performed the autopsy cross-match the DNA to the files? Naruto asked, and Tsunade narrowed her eyes. That's classified information, Naruto. Only myself and the top medical officers know that we have a DNA database of all our shinobi. Care to explain how you found out? Tsunade asked. When you found Sakura's remains in ash, you said so yourself, Naruto replied and got to thinking. According to Hinata-chan, this is a human body and its DNA matched the one in the database, Naruto wondered out loud. A 13-year-old without any medical training while still a Jonin wouldn't be able to fake her death to this extent, Naruto said as he walked around until he stopped next to another grave. Here lies Uchiha Mikoto, loved by her family, cherished by her friends. May she rest in peace. Naruto tapped his foot on the ground and watched the earth split itself and another coffin rose to the ground. Wait, Naruto, Kushina said as she rushed to her son. She was a dear friend. Be respectful, Kushina said, looking over the headstone. Naruto nodded and used his kunai to spread the coffin apart. Inside the coffin laid another cadaver. It was in a similar shape of Nao's. The skin was dry and withered, though this cadaver belonged to a fully developed woman. Like Nao, she had the markings of a blade in the middle of her chest. Naruto cut off a piece of her skin and sat on the ground once again. Kuchios, Edo Tensei, impure world resurrection, Naruto said as the ground glowed purple around the Shadow Clone. A few seconds had passed and nothing had happened yet again. Something is off here, Naruto said and turned to Hinata, but she was already on the cadaver of Uchiha Mikoto. It's a human body as well, Hinata replied, and Naruto was wondering what the hell is happening. Did Itachi use some type of sealing jutsu when he slaughtered his clan? Toyirama, Mito, Naruto called out, gathering the attention of both of them. Set up a small barrier around the graveyard so that we aren't interrupted, Naruto ordered, and both of them went to work on it. Father, Naruto said and turned to Mito. Set up a genjutsu on the barrier to disguise it, Naruto said, and Mito nodded. Who died and made you boss? Kushina asked jokingly, but Naruto didn't reply as he was busy. What are you playing, Naruto? Tsunade asked, curious about what Naruto had planned. Taju Kage Bunshin. Multiple shadow clones, Naruto called out with his fingers in a T shape. Spread out in groups of 2. Each group takes a tomb. Once Tsunade is verified that the cadaver is really human, use the Impure World Resurrection, Naruto ordered, and watched as the clones went to work. Hinata quickly made enough shadow clones to match the number of tombs, and everyone went to work. Something is off. The Uchiha were always secretive since they lived in the outskirts of the village, but suddenly one of their own turns on them and kills them all but leaves his brother alive, Naruto questioned in doubt. A few years later, not one but 2 Uchihas appear out of nowhere, and to make matters worse, their souls are not in the pure world where they are supposed to be, Naruto explained. Something is off in all of this, Naruto said out loud, and everyone nodded. This Uchiha massacre stinks, and Naruto would go to the end of it to find the real truth. It took half an hour for everyone to go through every single coffin in the Uchiha clan, and he wasn't able to revive anyone. Everyone's bodies were still there, minus the body of Uchiha Shisui. Do you think it's possible for Itachi to have sealed everyone somewhere? Naruto asked towards Mito, and Toyirama. Nothing like getting a second opinion. Possible? Yes. Although it's very unlikely, Mito replied. They were all killed by a blade for the heart. According to Hinata, that was the cause of death, which makes sealing their souls even more unlikely, Mito added, and Naruto nodded. Besides, sealing rituals take a considerable amount of chakra and time, and to seal everyone in the clan in a single night is highly unlikely, Mito explained, and Toyirama nodded in agreement. So the more logical outcome is that they faked their own deaths, Naruto said, and everyone agreed. We need to talk with the old man about this. He was the ruling Hokage at the time, Naruto said, and proceeded to bury everyone except Nao, which Hinata was taken to the hospital for a more deep examination. Those were human bodies that had the same DNA. These clones of some sort require vast knowledge of medical jutsu to create. What about the Uchiha brat that remained, Toyirama remembered, and everyone stopped walking. Itachi had killed everyone but had left Sasuke alive. Why? Do you think that the Sasuke that remained was also a fake, Hinata wondered? What a mess this is turning out to be. No, he was the original alright, Naruto replied. What makes you say that, Mito wondered. Because Tobi broke him out from the Anbu prison. If he was simply a clone, Tobi would have just let him die like everyone else in there, Naruto explained, pointing to the graveyard. These are all suppositions, you know that right, Mito said, and Naruto nodded. I'll ask Raikun to keep an eye open for the Uchihas. Maybe a spy network can give us some hints, Tsunade said, and everyone walked home. They had to talk with Hiruzen in the morning and get the facts clear. Forest outside of Konoha. It was the middle of the day at the forest of Konoha. The birds were chirping peacefully and the wind was rustling through the leaves. Everything seemed quiet and peaceful until a blonde blur was seen jumping from branch to branch. The person running towards Konoha was Uchiha now, although she was a little different. Instead of her usual black hair, she was now blonde, and the once pitch black eyes were now a dark brown. Her usual attire was also different. Instead of a traditional dark blue vest with the Uchiha clan crest and her sword on her back, She now supported simpler clothes, more civilian clothes to be specific. She wore a short sleeve pink shirt with the end of the sleeves and the collar being red in color and had black pants. Now continued jumping from branch to branch. She looked up and noticed the big green gates of Konoha. She was nearing Konoha. She jumped to the ground and started walking as a civilian should. "Halt!" Kotetsu yelled as he blocked Nao's path. Nao smiled as she stopped walking. "Sorry for the outburst," Kotetsu said, scratching the back of his head. He had a little red tinge on his cheeks as he looked towards the beauty in front of him. "No problem at all," Nao replied, smiling at Kotetsu's embarrassment. Kotetsu cleared his throat as he tried to regain his bearings. "Reasons for visiting Konoha?" Kotetsu asked as he tried to look professional. "That would be telling," Nao smiled as her eyes gained a red color. She gazed at Kotetsu with her Sharingan to cast a small genjutsu. "Of course. Enjoy your stay," Kotetsu replied. Nao smiled as Kotetsu went back to his booth and Nao went on her way. How nostalgic, Nao said to herself as she looked around the busy streets of Konoha. It was in the middle of the day and the streets were booming with activity. Nothing has changed, Nao smiled as she looked over Konoha. Everything was still the same as it was almost 10 years ago. The only difference she could see was the fifth face on the Hokage monument. Nao had almost forgotten the warmth of Konoha. She looked to her left and saw a few villagers laughing. To her right, she saw a man trying his best to drag a drunk friend around. She went to a shop and bought a few dango sticks. "So good. I've almost forgotten how good this was," Nao said as she continued walking while eating her sweets. She looked forward and her heart almost stopped when she saw two people coming right towards her. The male had long blonde waist length and spiky hair with bangs that framed his face and partially covered his right deep blue eye. He also had 3 distinctive whisker marks on each cheek. The female to his side had straight, waist-length, Hime-style haircut. Her eyes were white, trademark of the Byakugan. Thump! Nao could feel her heartbeat increasing with each step she took. Step by step, she could see them getting closer and closer. She stayed herself as she couldn't do anything out of the ordinary. She knew that both of them were skill sensors and any alteration on her chakra and her mission was blown. Thump. Nao took a deep breath and time almost stopped as she crossed both of them. She tilted her body to the side as she slightly grazed Hana's shoulder due to the crowd. Nao almost panicked but continued forward as if nothing had happened. She let out a breath of relief when she felt their chakra getting farther and farther away. Suddenly Hana stopped walking and turned around to look at the crowd. "Something wrong?" Naruto asked as he noticed Hana look at the crowd. "It's nothing. I just thought I saw someone I knew," Hana replied, and Naruto nodded. Hana turned around and both of them went off on their way. That was way too close, Nao thought to herself as she leaned against the wall in an alley. If she had been caught, she would have been killed. If I remember correctly, the academy was this way, Nao thought, and made her way towards the academy. At the academy. "Come on!" Nao heard as she arrived at the academy. Outside, there were a few students doing laps around the field as their instructor was cheering them on to make them run faster. Nao made her way towards the main entrance of the academy and made her way towards the classrooms. It was amazing how everything was still the same. She continued walking around until she crossed one of the rooms she used to take classes. She focused chakra into her ears and focused on a lecture going on. "Now," Iruka said, gathering the attention of his students. "What can you tell me about the Hi no Ishi, Will of Fire?" Iruka asked, and a girl instantly raised her hand. The Will of Fire is something that the Sandaime Hokage used to say in his lectures. He says that every Konoha shinobi must love, believe, cherish, and fight for the village's sake, as previous generations had done before them, the girl started. According to Sandaime-sama, this is what gives Konoha shinobi the strength to continue fighting against all odds, the girl explained. "Very good, hero," Iruka replied, getting a toothy grin from her. "The Will of Fire is the belief that should guide us. This is what gives us strength to fight for those we hold dear," Iruka explained and continued on with his lecture. The Will of Fire? Nao thought to herself. She had never heard anything like this before. Interesting how times and professors change. Flashback. Nao had just gone back from her mission briefing with Fugaku, and she made her way towards the graveyard. She stopped near a headstone with the name of Nana Uchiha. What would you do, big sis? Nao wondered and thought. Nao-chan? Nao heard some soft voice and looked up to see a fair-skinned woman with long, black hair with bangs hanging on both sides of her face to roughly frame her cheeks and black eyes. She wore a simple dark blue blouse with the Uchiha clan's crest on the back and a black short skirt. Mikoto-sama, Nao said, bowing to the wife of the clan leader. What troubles you, my dear? Mikoto softly asked. Nothing, Mikoto-sama, Nao smoothly replied, but Mikoto could tell something was wrong. Your eyes tell a different story, and I'm not talking about the Sharingan, Mikoto explained. It's... Nao started, but hesitated before gathering her thoughts. I'm not sure if I want to complete this mission Fugaku-sama gave me, Nao explained, and Mikoto nodded. There is only one thing I can tell you, Mikoto started, and got Nao's attention. Never do anything that you think is wrong. If you think deep down what you will do is wrong, then don't do it. You regret it for the rest of your life, Mikoto sadly explained, and Nao got curious. Did you do anything? Nao asked. I betrayed my best friend. We grew up together, and she was like a sister to me. We went to the academy together. We trained together. We talked about clothes, weapons, boys. And yet, I'm the reason she and her husband are now dead, and the reason I now possess these cursed eyes, Mikoto said, flaring her Sharingan and displaying her Mangekyo for the first time. They are beautiful, Nao said, enticed by the power Mikoto displayed. Looks like a flower blossoming, Nao said, and Mikoto slowly nodded. Did you do it for your eyes? Nao wondered, but Mikoto quickly denied it. I was presented with a choice, clan or Konoha, Mikoto explained, and Nao nodded. Itachi-kun chose Konoha while I chose my clan. We are what we choose. So, think about it and be sure of your choice as you will live with it for the rest of your life, Mikoto explained and started walking away. Wait! Nao suddenly screamed, making Mikoto stop. Thank you, Nao said with complete honesty. Mikoto nodded, smiling, and continued walking until she was out of Nao's sight. End of flashback. Damn him! Nao hissed as she turned around and started walking away from the academy. I may be a shinobi, but even I have my morals and boundaries, Nao thought to herself, choosing not to complete her mission. A few days later, Saratobi Compound. The Saratobi Compound, home of the Saratobi family. They had never applied for clan status, so they didn't possess a seat in the council, but that didn't seem to affect them. The Saratobi clan members were all extremely skilled in taijutsu and both earth and fire ninjutsu. Some members even managed to surpass the Uchihas in the skill with fire. Such example was, of course, Saratobi Hiruzen, the Sendaime Hokage. The man that was present in all three Great Shinobi Wars and led Konoha to victory in 2 of them. Extremely skilled in taijutsu, ninjutsu, and ensemble and bojutsu staff techniques. Couple this with his personal summon Enma, the Monkey King, Saratobi became known as the god of shinobi, and hailed as the strongest shinobi of his generation. And as far before that, Saratobi Sasuke was also an exceptionally strong shinobi, strong enough to hold his own against some legends of the old world like Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. Both of Hiruzen's sons were also strong in their own way. The only one currently alive is Saratobi Asuma, an elite join of Konoha, wind ninjutsu specialist, and once member of the 12 shinobi guardians. Ding dong! The bell rang through the whole Saratobi compound. Staying at the gates were almost all the dragons with their masks, with the exception of both Naruto and Hinata. Tsunade was also there as she was the Hokage and she needed to know everything that went down in her village. The gates slowly opened and in came someone who had short, spiky brown hair with black eyes. He wore long gray pants and a pale green jacket with a dark green stripe down the middle. He also wore his long blue scarf and now bore a Konoha protector on his forehead. Naruto Nichan, Konohamaru greeted in happiness. Who's the brat? Blue Toyarama asked, pointing to Konohamaru, who huffed. That would be Saratobi Konohamaru, grandson of Saratobi Hiruzen, Naruto explained, and Green Hashirama crouched to his level. He looks like him, Green replied. Who are they? Konohamaru asked, pointing towards the masked guy staying next to Naruto, Hinata, and Tsunade. I'll tell you someday, Naruto said, ruffling his hair. We need to talk to the old man. Is he home? Naruto asked, and Konohamaru nodded, guiding them towards one of the many houses. This place hasn't changed, Green says. He looked over to the house where Hiruzen lived. It looked exactly the same as the last time he visited, and that was many decades ago. I've never seen you here before, Konohamaru said once he heard Green's comment. You weren't here at the time, Green smoothly replied, but Konohamaru shrugged his shoulders and led everyone towards Hiruzen's office. Konohamaru knocked at the door and heard his grandfather talking. He opened the door and Hiruzen could be seen smoking on his pipe as he was drawing some kind of painting. The room's window was open as he seemed to be drawing the landscape he could see from that. Can we talk? Tsunade asked, and Hiruzen noted the serious tone in her voice. He nodded and shooed Konohamaru away, closing the door. Mito quickly placed a few sound seals around the room to make sure that nothing got out. So, Hiruzen started blowing up a bit of smoke. What can I do for you? Hiruzen asked, and watched as the dragons removed their masks and everyone sat on the ground. Where to begin, Tsunade mused, and turned to Hinata. Why don't you begin with Kiri, Tsunade asked, and Hinata nodded, making Hiruzen focus on her. A few weeks ago, we were given the mission to help the rebel side of the Mist in the Bloodline War, Hinata started, and Hiruzen was already surprised that Tsunade had agreed to such a mission, but he didn't focus much on that. We won the war, but along the way I fought in Uchiha, Hinata said, and Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. And Uchiha, you say? Hiruzen asked, taking a deep breath and motioned Hinata to go on. She said she was Uchiha now, and she had an eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. I won the battle, but she managed to demolish the building where I stood, so I was unable to capture her, Hinata explained. I remember her, Hiruzen said, sighing. She was a good girl, and just as talented as Itachi. She didn't get much of a spotlight since, with Itachi being a prodigy and since the clan head, she remained in his shadow. Always had the impression she had a good heart, Hiruzen explained. She was strong. She could use the Amaterasu flames, Susanoo, and some type of genjutsu that would completely freeze the enemy's chakra network, paralyzing her opponent and leaving him completely exposed to an attack, Hinata explained. I understand, but still fail to see what you expect from me, Hiruzen wondered, curious. Uchiha now was supposed to have been killed when Itachi slaughtered his clan, Naruto said, making Hiruzen narrow his eyes at him. What can you tell us about the massacre of the Uchiha clan, Naruto asked, focusing his attention on the old man. Hiruzen started to release a small cloud of smoke. What is there to tell? Hiruzen rhetorically asked, bringing his pipe to his mouth again. Itachi slaughtered his whole clan with the exception of his little brother, Hiruzen explained. Then how do you explain that there are two Uchihas alive besides Itachi and Sasuke? Tsunade asked, narrowing her eyes at Hiruzen. That I do not know, Hiruzen simply replied. Why did Itachi leave Sasuke alive? Naruto asked. Only Itachi can answer that, but perhaps he intended on taking Sasuke's eyes for himself, Hiruzen smoothly replied. You are lying, old man, Naruto said, smirking. I can feel your emotions, guilt and regret, which means that you are not telling us the whole story, Naruto replied, and everyone narrowed their eyes at the third Hokage. Just tell us what this is all about, Hashirama said. Very well, Hiruzen replied, sighing. He never expected the truth to come out after so many years. The truth is that Uchiha Itachi was ordered to eliminate the Uchiha clan by me. Hiruzen replied, and everyone stared with their eyes widened at the man. You what? Tsunade yelled, making everyone wince at the sound spike. And she complains about the noise. If that temper is anything to go by, she's a true-blood Senju, Mito thought to herself. Why would you do such a thing, Hiruzen? Hashirama asked in disbelief. All that work you put into making the Senju and Uchiha clans form a village together. Wasted. There was no other choice. It was either that or civil war in Konoha, Hiruzen started. The Uchihas were planning a coup d'etat, and if it were to take place, Konoha would be divided and weakened. The other nations would have seized this opportunity to bring us down. In the end, Itachi volunteered to do the mission, and I approved it, Hiruzen explained. You did well, Hiruzen, Toyirama replied. How can you say that? Hashirama replied, getting up, locking eyes with Toyirama. You were always against the Uchihas, but this is a new low, even for you, Hashirama replied, getting angry. They chose their path. The moment they started planning it, Hiruzen started breaking the argument. I tried peace talks, and Itachi did try to persuade them to abandon their foolish goal, but they didn't cave. So I took steps, Hiruzen explained. You could have asked me for help, Naruto replied. What could you do? Hiruzen rhetorically asked. An 8-year-old, despised by most of the village. Not everything revolves around you, and if someday you should ever take the hat, you will understand that not everything is black and white, Hiruzen replied. Naruto was surprised by the harsh tone coming from Hiruzen. This wasn't a kind old man he knew. No, this was the man that led Konoha to victory through 2 great shinobi wars. This was the god of shinobi. You are still naive, Naruto, Hiruzen says, slamming his fists to the ground. One day, you will make choices that you will regret for the rest of your life. You will send your own people into missions that you will know they'll most likely never return. One day, you will understand just what kind of sacrifices you will have to do in order to protect Konoha, Hiruzen explained. Is this what it means to be Hokage? Naruto thought to himself. I'm disappointed in you, Hiruzen, Hashirama replied. This isn't the will of fire I preached about. All members of the village are family, and they shouldn't be exterminated like some infestation, Hashirama explained. He did the right thing, Tobirama firmly replied. Those half-bloods were never to be trusted. You think that I hated Madara, but he was the only one I trusted, Tobirama replied, making several jaws drop. He was a man of his word, unlike most of his clan, and he would never have sacrificed his little brother for his eyes. Those are lies fed to anyone that would be heard by those inferior in power to him. Those half-bloods would do anything to rise above those of true blood, Tobirama explained. Why do you think he left the village in the first place? Tobirama rhetorically asked, crossing his arms. Because it wasn't for the fact that he wasn't made Hokage instead of you. He got fed up with his pathetic clan, and since he was the last of the true-blooded line, he left, Tobirama explained. Then how do you explain him challenging me to a battle, Hashirama asked, narrowing his eyes at his brother. That I do not know, but he must have had his reasons. We will never know, Tobirama explained. Madara wasn't so power-driven like those half-bloods. You remember the battles very well. They used their Mangekos until they were consumed by their darkness. They used Izanagi like some toy, playing gods, just to try to get the upper hand, Tobirama said, gritting his teeth. Izanagi? Kushina asked out loud. Izanagi is a kinjutsu of the Uchiha clan and their ultimate genjutsu, Naruto started. By sacrificing an eye, the Uchiha can use this technique to gain the power to turn imagination into reality. It was said to be derived from my creation of all things, Naruto explained, and Kushina's eyes widened along with those who didn't know of this. Tobirama is right, Naruto replied, getting a shocked look from Hiruzen. If the Uchiha clan had committed to a coup d'etat and used Izanagi, then Konoha would have fallen in a single night, Naruto explained, and Tobirama nodded. How come? Minato wondered. He had never read anything about this Izanagi technique. Imagine for an instant that Hiruzen attacked the Uchiha compound with several hundred men. The battle would definitely go in Hiruzen's favor due to the numbers. However, a single Izanagi cast would wipe out his army, Naruto explained, and Hiruzen was shocked by the power of the technique. This is good and all, but apparently they are still alive, Hinata said, and broke everyone from their rant. What do you mean? Hiruzen asked, confused. Last night, we performed a mass exhumation of the Uchiha clan. Their bodies were all fakes. Every single member has apparently faked their own deaths, Hinata explained, but Hiruzen shook his head. It's not possible, Hiruzen replied in disbelief. We performed an autopsy on every single member and everything checked out. Besides, wouldn't Itachi notice them being fakes, Hiruzen asked? It was an assassination. The Uchiha clan never knew what hit them, Naruto explained. How can you tell that the bodies were fakes, Hiruzen asked, curious. Besides the fact that their bodies aren't in the pure world, the bodies are, for a lack of a better word, perfect, Hinata replied. I performed an autopsy on Nao's body and she was in perfect condition, Hinata explained. Shouldn't that be a good thing, Hiruzen asked, confused. She had no marks of broken bones, no scar tissue, or any type of bruising history. Now that would be fine for a civilian, but not for a shinobi. Besides, her medical history indicates she had broken her ribs before, and this body had no evidence of it, Hinata explained, and Hiruzen stared at her in disbelief. So let me get this straight, Tsunade said and gathered the attention to her. You ordered Itachi to wipe out his clan, and he follows your orders, leaving only Sasuke alive. In the end, it turns out the Uchiha clan is still alive, and faked their own deaths, Tsunade explained, going through the facts. I wonder why Itachi left his brother alive, He made to wonder out loud. It was his only request, Hiruzen said. We already made a huge request by ordering him to kill his own clan, but he couldn't kill his little brother. The deal was for him to kill the Uchihas in return of leaving little Sasuke alive, Hiruzen explained. A true shinobi. To think he sacrificed so much for Konoha, Toirama replied. And he was a half-blood Toirama. Even among them, there are some good souls, Hashirama said. Either that, or this Itachi's in with them on this whole fake scheme, Toirama replied, and Hashirama shook his head at Toirama's stubbornness. If Itachi had been in on this, then he would have killed Sasuke instead of leaving him here all alone, Naruto replied. Who knew Itachi would be the good guy after all, Naruto thought to himself, wondering why Itachi joined the Akatsuki after everything he did for Konoha. That makes sense, Toirama replied. Who else knows about the real truth behind the massacre, Tsunade asked. Hamura, Koharu, and Danzo, since all four of us came to the final decision, Hiruzen replied. I have a question, Kushina said, and everyone turned to her. If the Uchiha clan is still alive, why have they been hiding for so many years? Kushina asked, throwing the question into the air. I have a feeling that Tobi has a hand in all of this, Naruto started. Don't you think it's strange that Tobi was in Kyuri and that was the first place we encountered another Uchiha? Naruto rhetorically asked, and a few nodded. It was too much of a coincidence. If so, then the Akatsuki become more dangerous if the Uchiha clan is in their midst, Tsunade explained. Let's keep this under wraps until we know more, Tsunade explained, and everyone rose. Some things are better off buried forever. And that is the end of Chapter 45, The Choices We Make, Part 1. There are 2 more parts to The Choices We Make chapter series, I guess. And we'll be going over Part 2 in this video and Part 3 in the next video. So I guess be prepared for that. And that's all I have to say. Let's move on to Chapter 46, The Choice We Make, Part 2. Here we go. Chapter 46, The Choices We Make, Part 2. It was night in Konoha, and it was a beautiful, starry night sky without any evidence of clouds to hide thousands of stars. The moon was shining high in the sky, bathing Konoha in a silver light. Everything was quiet in Konoha. There was no one outside, and the streets were deserted. The only sound was that of nature, the wind rustling through the trees and a few animals. Just outside of the walls, a single shinobi could be seen hopping from tree branch to tree branch. His high-colored black cloak with red clouds floated in the wind as the shinobi blurred through the trees, intending to arrive as soon as possible. The shinobi opened his eyes, and a familiar blood-red color with black markings blazed to life. A free Tomoe Sharingan scanned the surroundings as the shinobi hopped down to the ground, still concealed in the shadows of the forest. The shinobi blinked as he saw a large, transparent dome around what seemed to be the entirety of Konoha. It was a sensing barrier to prevent any foreign shinobi access to Konoha without anyone knowing. The shinobi simply walked right through the barrier like it never existed. A perk of the job as he used to belong to the leaf. The shinobi looked ahead and noticed that the big green gates were closed. He jumped high in the sky and, laying on the wall, proceeded to run up them until he reached the top. The defensive walls of Konoha were the biggest structure of the village, with the exception of the Hokage Tower. The shinobi scanned the surroundings, making sure that no Anbu team was around, and jumped down and into the depths of Konoha. Senju Compound. Like all of Konoha, the Senju Compound was also quiet. Everyone was sleeping peacefully, not realizing that an enemy shinobi was approaching quickly. The same could be said about Naruto and Hinata, who were sleeping next to each other. Tock tock. Boom! The moment Naruto heard a ticking noise on the window, he sent a kunai flying towards the target. He didn't even open his eyes as he was asleep only moments before. The kunai was embedded with lightning chakra, so it didn't break the window. It pierced the glass and hit whatever was on the other side. What was that? Naruto wondered in thoughts. He looked to his left and noticed that Hinata was slowly stirring. What happened? Hinata groggily asked as she raised herself from the bed. Tock tock. Naruto heard it again, but this time he was already fully awake. This sound was coming from the window. He looked up and noticed something pecking the window. His Sharingan blazed to life to allow better vision. It was a black crow, pecking the window with his beak. What is he doing here? Naruto found in confusion as he slowly got up without disturbing Hinata, and quickly got dressed. Nothing, Naruto replied, kissing her forehead. I'm going to get some fresh air. Go back to sleep, Naruto said, and Hinata mumbled something before going back to sleep again. Naruto suddenly got out of the room, leaving behind a shadow clone to guard Hinata. Just in case, Naruto thought, and walked out of the Senju compound, following the crow. Naruto made his way deep into Konoha and arrived to a training ground. Naruto watched as the crow flew and landed on the shoulders of someone staying on a tree branch. What did my crow ever do to you? Itachi asked, shaking his head. This is one ballsy move, Itachi, Naruto said, looking carefully at the other shinobi. I did not come here to fight, Naruto-kun. I only came here to talk, Itachi stoically replied. I know, Naruto whispered behind Itachi's ears. Itachi's eyes widened as he quickly jumped down from the tree. He landed on the ground and looked up to see another Naruto where he previously stood. He got behind me without me realizing it, and with my defenses up, Itachi thought in amazement, and watched as one of the Narutos dispelled in smoke. Naruto sat down on the ground, with his legs crossed. I feel no ill intent coming from you, otherwise you would already be dead, Naruto said in a serious voice. Now, what can I do for you? Naruto asked, focusing on Itachi. I have a few questions I was hoping you could answer, and in return, I shall tell you what I know of the Akatsuki, Itachi replied in his monotone voice. Really? Naruto asked, surprised. I thought you were loyal to the Akatsuki, but you are willing to betray them for this info I may not even have or be willing to share, Naruto explained. I will take my chances, Itachi simply replied, and Naruto chuckled. I still wonder what you are doing in that organization, Itachi, Naruto said, and Itachi raised an eyebrow. Same as every other member, capturing the tail beast, Itachi replied, but Naruto shook his head. I don't think so, Naruto replied, and Itachi just looked at him with a blank face. I have recently heard very interesting news about the Uchiha massacre, Naruto said, and watched as Itachi slightly tense. Actually, it's very convenient that you are here, as I also have a few questions that only you can answer, Naruto explained. What do you know? Itachi questioned. The Uchiha massacre was one of Konoha's deepest and darkest secrets. Only the Sendaime Hokage and his three advisors knew of what had happened. It was an S-rank secret that everyone swore to never speak of again. It was supposed to remain buried forever. Everything, Itachi, Naruto replied, and Itachi looked down. How all of that was a mission from the village since the clan was preparing a coup d'etat, Naruto explained, and Itachi could only nod. You killed your own family for Konoha, Naruto slowly said. You did something I could never do, Naruto replied, but Itachi remained silent. Although, you shouldn't beat yourself up since you didn't kill anyone, Naruto said, and watched as Itachi's head suddenly snapped up. Excuse me? Itachi asked in confusion. Was Naruto playing some sick joke with him? I did a mass exhumation on the clan, and every single member faked their own death, Naruto replied, making Itachi's eyes widen. No, Itachi replied in disbelief, slightly shaking his head. That's not possible. I would have noticed something different in them, Itachi replied. The bodies they left behind were perfect replicas, including their DNA. It was like some clone, although to cellular level, Naruto explained. I don't know how they did it, but cloning someone to that level takes years to accomplish, Naruto said, as every piece started coming together in Itachi's head. Setsu, Itachi replied in disbelief. He had been tricked by that Toby fellow. Him, that was supposed to be a prodigy like no other. The white and black plant thingy? Naruto asked, and Itachi nodded. One of his special abilities is to clone and take the appearance of anyone he touches, Itachi explained. If that is true, then you do realize that Toby is most likely some member of your clan, Naruto asked, and Itachi nodded. He played me from the beginning. He helped me with the massacre, but everything was planned from the beginning. Toby said that he was Madara, and I was a fool to believe him. I gave him information about the clan without knowing that he in fact belonged to it, Itachi replied, shaking his head. What will you do now? Naruto asked, and watched Itachi sigh. You could come back to the leaf, Naruto stated, but Itachi gave a hollow chuckle. I appreciate the offer, but I have much to do but not enough time to do it, Itachi replied, dropping to the ground and coughing up a mouthful of blood. The amount of blood was so much that it even fell to the ground. Oi! Naruto said with surprise and rushed Itachi. Are you alright? Naruto asked, surprised. I'm dying, Naruto-kun, Itachi replied, chuckling. I just hope you have enough time to right my wrongs. I didn't expect this information, Itachi replied, and said to himself. What is it you wanted to know? Naruto asked as he sat down. Is it true about what you said about Toby taking Sasuke-kun from his prison? Itachi asked, focusing on the blonde. Every word, Naruto replied, and watched Itachi sigh and raise his head to look up at the stars. I never wanted any of this to happen. The plan was for me to kill the whole Uchiha clan and leave my brother alive. By making him hate me, I wished for him to grow strong and one day come for me. By doing so, he could purge me of my sins and begin a new Uchiha clan. A better one, Itachi replied sadly. No offense, but that plan was flawed from the beginning, Naruto answered. While hate may make someone strong, they make them unstable, and look what happened. He murdered his own teammates in cold blood just for his eyes, Naruto replied, thinking about Sasuke murdering Sakura to achieve his Mangekyo. One of many mistakes I did in my short life, Itachi replied solemnly. And one I intend to fix, Itachi replied sadly. You're going to kill him? Naruto asked, surprised. I thought you left him alive because you loved him, Naruto said, confused. I do love him. He's my little brother, Itachi replied, gritting his teeth. But I cannot overlook what he has done. Even if he was to kill me and supposedly avenge my clan, he wouldn't be welcome back in Konoha. He would be a fugitive for the rest of his life, Itachi sighed. Once again, I'm forced to kill those I love for the greater good. I'm sure hell has a special place for someone like me, Itachi replied, and blinked as Naruto was suddenly at his face. Naruto brought up 2 fingers and poked Itachi on the forehead. Did he just poke me? The Itachi Uchiha? Itachi felt his eyes twitching, thinking about forgetting everything and killing the brat right here and now. Naruto's fingers started glowing green. After a few brief couple of seconds, Naruto released Itachi and watched as he fell to the ground. What did you do? Itachi asked in amazement. He never felt so strong and healthy. Itachi took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the night's cold air, and noticed that he felt no pain or difficulty. I healed your body and gave you a gift, Naruto replied, looking at Itachi. I hope you use it well, Itachi, Naruto replied seriously, and watched as Itachi rose from the ground. Itachi flexed his hands, taking another deep breath. He slowly flared his chakra and felt it cover his whole body. He never felt so strong in his life. His Sharingan flared into existence and started glowing in the night. Even his skin seemed to gain a stronger color. How did you do this? Itachi asked in amazement. Naruto had cured his disease, which everyone said to be incurable. Itachi had an autoimmune disease that every single doctor said to be incurable, and that Itachi had his days numbered, and yet a single brat of 17 healed him in just a few seconds. Who knows, Naruto cryptically said, but allowed Itachi to see his silver eyes with several concentric circles. The eyes of the sage, Itachi said just above a whisper, as he stared at Naruto's silver eyes. He has the same eyes as Nagato, Itachi thought in disbelief. The Renegade's eyes were legendary and only appeared on a single figure throughout history, and now there were 2 users of them, although Naruto seemed to be able to deactivate them unlike Nagato. This Itachi, Naruto said, pointing to his silver eyes. This is the Sharingan's final form, Naruto said with his Rinnegan glowing in the night. You are full of surprises, Naruto-kun, Itachi said, chuckling. Not to sound ungrateful, but why did you do this? Itachi asked, confused. We tried to take you 3 years ago and even hurt your girlfriend, Itachi explained. You're a good person who got dealt a crappy hand, Naruto explained, shocking Itachi. And I believe in second chances for everybody, and this is yours, Naruto said. Thank you, Naruto-kun, Itachi replied, smiling. Now that he was fully healed, even the smile didn't seem that creepy. Here, Naruto said and threw a three-pronged kunai at Itachi. Should you ever need any help, give me a call, so to speak, Naruto replied, and Itachi nodded, stashing the kunai away. What will you do now? Naruto asked, curious. I'm going to keep tabs on Toby while I wait for Sasuke. If anyone knows the whereabouts of the Uchiha clan, it's him, Itachi replied. And Sasuke? Naruto questioned further. I'm doing what I should have done all those years ago, Itachi replied, and turned his back to Naruto. Foolish little brother, Itachi thought as a single tear ran down his eye. Goodbye, Itachi, Naruto said, and watched Itachi disperse into a storm of crows that rose into the sky and flew away.
You place a great deal of trust in him,
Kurama warned.
A half-blood Uchiha out of everyone else,
Kurama explained. You could feel him as well. He has a pure heart, and I can feel the love he has for his brother. He'll prove a valuable ally in the future, Naruto explained.
Your call,
Kurama replied and went back to his slumber. Naruto strolled away and appeared inside his room. Hinata was already sound asleep. I'll fix that in the morning, Naruto thought, looking at the window and laid down, resuming his sleep. Next morning. So, let's see, Naruto says he shuffled the maze that was the Senju library. Saying that this library was extensive was saying something. Even more now that Naruto and Minato added the Uchiha library to it. These shelves seem to go on forever. Thousands upon thousands of scrolls ranging from medic jutsus to offensive ones, from history scrolls to journals. I am never going to find the right section at this pace, Naruto sighed as he went back to the beginning. There you are, Naruto heard and turned to the library's entrance to see Hinata lean on the door frame. Hinata-chan! Naruto yelled as he rushed her. Help me! I'm desperate! Naruto yelled, crying anime tears while he kneeled at Hinata's feet. Hinata just sweat dropped at his behavior. There, Hinata said, gently tapping Naruto's back. What are you doing here anyway? Hinata asked, curious. I'm trying to find the biology section, but I can't. Can you help me? Naruto asked with his best puppy dog eyes. You're such a big baby, Hinata replied, and Naruto grinned. It's this way, Hinata said, and Naruto gladly followed. They turned right and then right again, followed by another left until Naruto was lost. Here we are, Hinata says, she pointed towards the biology-related stuff. Finally, Naruto said as he scanned the shelf of the books he was looking for. Why are you interested in biology now all of a sudden? Hinata asked, curious, and looked over the book that Naruto picked up. Biology of reptiles? Hinata read out loud at the book's title. For what possible end would you want to read this book? Hinata asked. That is a secret, Naruto replied, chuckling as he scanned the content of the book. By the way, Naruto called out, gaining Hinata's attention. Shouldn't you be at the hospital? Naruto asked. I have the day off, Hinata replied. Well then, how about we start your Senjutsu training, Naruto asked, and Hinata quickly nodded. Naruto placed an arm around her, and both of them swirled away. Training ground 8. Both Naruto and Hinata arrived at their old training grounds back when they belonged to teammates. We haven't been here in a while, Hinata said, and Naruto nodded. Seni Jashu! Hidden snake hands voice echoed throughout the clearing. Both Naruto and Hinata walked towards the voice that seemed to be only a few yards away. They arrived to see Anko with her right arm extended with several snakes out of her sleeve. The snakes wrapped themselves around another shinobi who Hinata immediately identified as Kurenai. Kurenai burst into a cloud of pink flower petals. Kai! Anko immediately flared her chakra, dispelling the low-level illusion, only to see Kurenai on the side going through hand seals. Anko hurled several shuriken to prevent Kurenai from finishing her seals. Kurenai was forced to stop her jutsu and dive to the side to avoid the volley. Katon! Ryuka no Jutsu! Fire dragon technique, Anko said, pumping her lungs with air and mixing with chakra. She unleashed a torrent of fire that spread throughout the training grounds. Shit! Naruto thought to himself, pumping his own lungs with chakra. Suiton, Suijin Heki, water wall, Naruto said, and a large dome of water surrounded him and Hinata, preventing any burns. Anko stopped when she saw a large cloud of steam form around the training grounds. Futon, Daitopa, great breakthrough, Hinata said, releasing a strong gust of wind that blew the steam away and cleared the vision of everyone on the grounds. You should be careful to where you aim those things, Hinata replied towards Anko, who recognized it too. The spar is over, Anko yelled and looked as Kurenai rose from the ground with her body completely covered with her dark hair. Once Kurenai was above ground, her hair started receding to its usual length. Naruto-kun, Hinata-chan, it's been a while, Kurenai replied, rushing towards the group and greeting them. Kurenai hadn't seen Hinata for a few months now. In fact, she hadn't seen her since their practice battle. The royal couple of Konoha, Anko said, getting behind Naruto and Hinata and dropping her arms around each one. So, Anko began with her eyes glistening. Have you two lovebirds done it yet? Anko asked and noticed both of them tensed. Anko! Kurenai yelled, flushing right at Anko's boldness. Well, Anko said, dragging her voice and wanting the juicy details. What we have, Naruto simply replied, making Kurenai's jaw drop and Anko grin, releasing both of them. Naruto-kun! Hinata yelled as she tried her best to avoid looking at Kurenai. What? Naruto asked, confused. Are you ashamed of being with me? Naruto asked, looking down. No, it's not that, Hinata quickly replied. It's private and it should stay that way, Hinata explained, and Naruto not feeling like a dumbass. Forget that, Anko replied and dragged Hinata to the side. So, how was he? Anko asked and noticed how Hinata began to poke her fingers together as a drop of blood ran down her nose. Oh my god! Anko yelled, staring at Hinata. She's a pervert, Anko thought to herself, grinning. You better go get Anko. We're supposed to train, and I feel like Hinata's about to faint, Naruto replied, looking towards Kurenai, who seemed to be drilling a hole in Naruto's skull. What? Naruto asked, confused by her glare. I hope you at least use protection, Kurenai said, crossing her arms in front of her chest. You're one to talk, Kurenai-sensei, Naruto sarcastically replied. What are you talking about, Kurenai asked, confused. What do you think I'm talking about, Naruto rhetorically asked. I'm talking about the fetus growing in you, Naruto said, pointing towards her womb. What? Kurenai asked, alarmed, looking at her stomach, not that she would see much. You're pregnant. You knew that, right? Naruto asked, looking at Kurenai, who had a blank face. Are you sure? Kurenai asked. Not that she wasn't happy, but she had to be sure. I am. I can feel his life force already. If you ask Hinata-chan, she can confirm it with the Byakugan, Naruto said. Be right back, Kurenai quickly replied, and went to fetch Hinata to confirm Naruto's diagnosis. Kurenai quickly returned with a green Anko who seemed to be sizing Naruto up and down, and a blushing Hinata who still couldn't look Kurenai in the eyes. Hinata-chan, can you use your Byakugan on my, womb? Kurenai simply asked, and Hinata got confused but did anyways. You're pregnant! Hinata said, making Anko's jaw drop. Congratulations, Hinata said and hugged Kurenai fiercely. How come you didn't tell me? Anko asked, faking anger. Naruto-kun told me right now, Kurenai replied, and Anko nodded. So, Anko began. Who is the father? Anko asked, grinning while Kurenai blushed. Is it a chain-smoking wind user that we all know? Naruto asked, joining Anko in the teasing. Idiots! Kurenai replied, smacking them both. He is, Kurenai replied. What are you doing here anyway? Kurenai asked, trying to change the subject. We came here to train, Naruto replies. He looked towards Anko and remembered that she still had the cursed seal of heaven that Naruto promised to remove. Say, Anko, Naruto said, gathering her attention. I can remove your cursed seal now. Do you want to do it now? Naruto asked, and Anko almost jumped him, nodding her head fiercely. Lie down on the ground, Naruto said, and Anko quickly followed. Hinata and Kurenai took a few steps back to give Naruto space. This might sting a little bit, Naruto said, and channeled chakra to his index finger. Naruto placed his index finger in the valley of Anko's breast, right above her heart. Oi! Anko grumbled. These belong to Kakashi-kun, you know, Anko rhetorically asked, lifting her breast with her hands. Naruto could only stutter at her actions. Anko! Stop playing with them and focus! Kurenai yelled, making Anko scoff. Naruto cleared his throat to remove any perverted thoughts about Kakashi's relationship with Anko and, well, Anko's breasts. Anko gave a small gasp as Naruto released a small yet strong spark from his fingertip. The small spark was enough to shut down Anko's heart, effectively killing the Jonin. He killed her. Hinata fought shot, looking at Naruto, who seemed to be calm like nothing had happened. You do know what you just did, right? Hinata asked fearfully. Of course. The cursed seal of heaven automatically disappears when the user dies, Naruto explained, and Hinata sighed in relief. Why would I force Anko for the pain of forcefully removing it when the seal itself already does that? Naruto explained and pointed to Anko's shoulder. The three Tomoes with the cursed seal of heaven started spinning and sizzling. As they spun, a black smoke started erupting from it, and little by little, the seal started shrinking until nothing remained on her shoulder. If they didn't know any better, they wouldn't think she ever had a seal to begin with. Naruto placed one finger on her forehead and jump-started her body again. Anko opened her eyes like nothing had ever happened. Is it done? Anko asked nervously. She didn't know what she would do if Naruto answered no. You are free. Forever. Naruto replied, and Anko quickly got up and hugged him, spinning him around in happiness. Are you crying? Kurenai teased, seeing Anko's watery eyes. No, Anko quickly replied. I've got to go home and tell Kakashi-kun. Bye, Anko replied before taking off quickly. I have never seen her so happy, Kurenai replied, smiling until she remembered her being pregnant. Well, Kurenai said, running her hand over her stomach, I've got to break the news to Asuma-kun. See you later, Kurenai said, and shunshin away, leaving Naruto and Hinata alone. That was interesting, Naruto replied, and Hinata nodded. Both of them sat down in the lotus position, facing each other. Now, Naruto said, gathering Hinata's attention. What is chakra? Naruto asked, and Hinata simply stared at him with a blank face. Oh, come on, just humor me, Naruto replied, and Hinata sighed. Chakra is a mix of the body's physical energy and the soul's spiritual energy, Hinata replied. Exactly, Naruto replied, while Hinata just shook her head. We shinobi can use both of these energies separately. Some bloodlines, like the Nara shaman manipulation, uses more spiritual energy, making the chakra uneven. The same can be said for the Akamichi clan, who manipulate physical energy to grow parts of their body. Some genjutsu are even solely based on spiritual energy, like the Nandaime Mizukage's genjutsu, Naruto explained, and Hinata raised an eyebrow. Never knew that, Hinata replied, and Naruto nodded, going on with his explanation about the origin and workings of chakra. Most of us simply mix the physical and spiritual energies in equal quantities to produce what we call chakra. Chakra is far stronger than the individual energies, and since it's made from energies that make our own body, if we use too much, we die. We need a minimum amount of these energies to simply keep our body running, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded. Now, Senjutsu is a special kind of chakra. Senjutsu chakra is obtained when you gather what we call natural energy and mix it with the physical and spiritual energy to produce a new mixture far more powerful than regular chakra. Understand so far? Naruto asked, and Hinata nodded. What happens if this mixture isn't in equal portions? Hinata asked, curious. You said that some jutsu use physical and spiritual energies on different proportions, Hinata explained. If you use too little natural energy, you don't get anything, but if you place too much, you turn into stone, Naruto said, giving a warning of the dangers. Stone? Hinata asked fearfully. Natural energy is very powerful, and there's a reason why there have only been a few to be able to use this type of energy since the dawn of chakra, Naruto explained. Only shinobi with big chakra pools can even think of trying to learn senjutsu. If you absorb too much natural energy, it can overwhelm you and turn you into a statue, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded, taking everything in. Besides being difficult to learn, there are very few that can even teach this art. Sanin learned his from the toads, who, unlike other animals, share a stronger connection to nature. Hashirama learned from his summons, the Ents, and I learned from Hashirama since the foxes didn't have any senjutsu training, Naruto said. This training is divided into two steps. First step is learning how to feel and gather natural energy, and the second step is learning how to find the perfect mix with the other two energies to produce senjutsu chakra. When you have enough of this senjutsu chakra, you enter what is called sage mode, where your taijutsu, ninjutsu, or anything chakra based get a boost. Your self-healing also receives a huge boost, Naruto finished explaining, and waited for Hinata to process everything. Ready to begin, Naruto asked, and Hinata nodded. I'm going to leave a clone near you at all times. Should you ever lose control of the senjutsu chakra, I'll put it out using my Predapath, so you won't turn into stone, Naruto said, and Hinata nodded. To be able to absorb natural energy, one must become one with nature. You need to remain perfectly still, but for now, I'm going to infuse some senjutsu chakra into you, so you can start to feel it, Naruto said. Naruto concentrated for a few minutes until he gathered enough natural energy to enter his sage mode. Say, Hinata started, will I also have those kind of markings on my face? Hinata asked, curious, not that it looked bad. That is an interesting topic, Naruto replied, bringing his hand to his chin. No one really knows why, but these markings aren't always the same. My markings are like Hashirama's, but in a different color, although they are completely different from Sanin's, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded. Naruto placed 2 fingers on Hinata's forehead and leaked a small amount of already molten senjutsu chakra into Hinata. It's so powerful, Hinata said in a strained voice. as she tried to contain the powerful Senjutsu chakra. Don't fight or try to constrain the chakra. Let it roam through your body, to your arms and legs, into your eyes. Embrace the chakra, Naruto advised, and Hinata tried just that. She channeled a small amount into her and activated her Byakugan on accident. What's wrong? Naruto asked, worried. He was restraining most of the Senjutsu chakra just to give Hinata a feel for it before she tried to create her own. I can see it, Hinata whispered. I can see the natural energy. I can see it rushing through the trees and into the leaves. I can see it right on the ground. It's everywhere. It's beautiful, Hinata said as she observed the natural energy. You mean you can see the energy with your Byakugan? Naruto asked in disbelief, and Hinata just nodded. Unbelievable, Naruto thought to himself. He wasn't able to see the energy with his Sharingan. Naruto removed his hand and stopped feeding her Senjutsu chakra. Hinata's Byakugan deactivated and her vision was cut off, making her frown. Well, at least feeling natural energy won't be difficult for you. Now you need to remain perfectly still and try to feel this energy that is everywhere. Once you start to feel it, you need to grab it and merge it with your other energies to produce Senjutsu chakra, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded, sitting on the ground in the lowest position. I'll be reading my book while you try it, alright? Naruto asked, and Hinata nodded, relaxing every sense and focusing entirely on the feeling she got earlier. Say, Hinata suddenly said, stopping Naruto in his tracks. Can I use Shadow Clones to speed up my training? Hinata asked, and Naruto chuckled. You can, but only 9 at most, Naruto said, and made enough Shadow Clones so that each Hinata had 1 Naruto. Why only 9? Hinata asked, confused. Like I said, natural energy is very powerful. By using Shadow Clones, you split your chakra between them, lowering the quantity in each one. If you make more than 9, your chakra pool will become too low for you to absorb natural energy without repercussion. And if one of your clones turns to stone, it's the end for the original as well, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded. Let's see, Naruto thought to himself as he laid on the ground, up against a tree, and opened his book to start reading. He looked up and smiled as he saw Hinata deep in concentration. 1 hour later. Need help? Naruto asked as he noticed that Hinata was having problems remaining perfectly still. Even for someone who had extreme flexibility for combat, it was difficult. Animals were never meant to stay perfectly still like plants. I guess, Hinata mumbled beneath her breath, making Naruto chuckle. The original Naruto stood in front of all the Hinatas and slammed his hands on the ground. 10 spikes made of rock rose from the ground and stood at a good 7 feet from the base. After the earth spikes were made, Naruto made another one for himself and several rock platforms. To help you keep perfectly still, you place one of these on top of the spikes and try not to fall, Naruto said, pointing towards the earth plates. Naruto picked one and jumped towards one of the spikes, laying perfectly on it. Naruto sat down and the platform didn't even waver as Naruto was completely still. Naruto chuckled as almost all of the Hinata clones fell to the ground instantly. Hinata glared at Naruto, who remained still on his own rock board, lazily reading his book. Naruto reminded Hinata of Kakashi, the way he was reading that book, lazily going over the next page. I'll get this eventually, Hinata thought to herself before she picked another piece of stone up and jumped towards the spike. Hinata fell once again and narrowed her eyes when she heard Naruto silently laugh. You keep laughing and you'll end up on the couch, Hinata playfully said. Hinata-chan, Naruto whined, making Hinata grin. A few days later, Hinata was returning from the training grounds as she finished her Senjutsu training for the day. She was happy that she completed one of her new techniques that she was almost skipping for the road. She arrived near the Senju compound when she felt Naruto's chakra nearby. She quickly located him and went towards him, only to stare at him in shock. No. Hinata thought in disbelief, shaking as she looked towards Naruto. Naruto was grinding himself against some girl. He was kissing her all over her neck and chest, and by the looks of it, the girl was enjoying it. Naruto, Hinata said, gathering his attention. Ah, shit. Naruto thought to himself as he stopped his ministrations and turned to see his girlfriend with a neutral face. Too neutral for his taste. Wait, Naruto said, detaching himself from the girl and waved his hands in front of Hinata. I can explain, Naruto quickly said. And what is there to explain? Hinata said, narrowing her eyes at her boyfriend. I guess you grew tired of me. Was that it? Hinata asked, with her voice getting louder. No, not at all, Naruto stuttered as he tried to quickly come up with an excuse. You see, Naruto said, but Hinata was already in front of him. After everything we have been through, you do this to me? Hinata said in a low voice. I gave you everything, and you betrayed my trust with some hussy? Hinata said, her eyes watering. Slap! Naruto was thrown backwards by its chakra power slap. He crashed into the building, taking down a wall. I hate you, Senju Naruto! Hinata yelled as she ran off in tears. The other girl was just curled up in a ball, trying not to faint from all the killing intent that was thrown around. And that is the end of chapter 46. That was left on a cliffhanger. And I'll just say this right away, as someone who has read all of Legacy, let's just say that this is all part of that little plan that Naruto and Hinata have for the Hyuga clan. What is it exactly? Well, you'll find out in the next video whenever I get that out. Also, for those of you who don't know what Ents are, they're from Lord of the Rings. And they closely resemble trees. Yep. Interesting, right? Anyways, that's about it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, share the video. Shout out to my social medias. They're in the description, so check them out if you want to. And join my Discord server, which is linked down in the description. And of course, shout out to my 10-hour patrons, names on screen, my third-hour patron, Gabe Tidwell. And yeah, that's about it for this video. Again, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, share the video. Stay tuned for other videos that are coming out next week and some more stuff in between, such as my first stream in a while and Kakashi Naruto Part 4 and some, again, other fun stuff in between. And yeah, that's about it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, share the video. This is me, your boy, Anime Sage, sign up, peace or ha. Sunny Show closes out. Bye-bye. Peace.
Hi, this is Stephanie Shea, voice actress for Sailor Moon, Hinata, Orihime, and you are watching Anime Sage.